Save the Semantics, episode 213. It is June 2nd, 2022. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I ramble on for a bit about some shit. It is Friday. Looking forward to a nice little weekend, hopefully. It's been a pretty solid week, I'd say. It's been a pretty solid week. I have been active. I started going to the gym. So things have been good. But I am also sore. I'm incredibly sore, and I'm pretty tuckered out, but so today's kind of a rest day, I would say. I guess tomorrow too. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to go to the gym at least 3 days a week, like I said, we'll see. We'll see how I feel. 'Cause I'm thinking of going back on Sunday. And then from that point on, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday are going to be my days that I work out. And then and the days in between are going to be the days that I do cardio, which is what I usually do. I usually run 3 days a week. And then Saturday is going to be my rest day. That is the plan. I don't know how well that's going to go. It's just going to depend on how I feel. Because I am tired. That's just what it is. I think it's just I'm getting adjusted to really getting back into working out consistently like I did back in high school. It's just kind of wild looking back. I literally ran almost every single day. I was doing that. I did that for pretty much 4 years. So, I think I was just such in a routine of doing that once I kind of stopped running, really. I mean, I kept running, but not every day. Once college started up, I occasionally ran, but not as often as I used to. So, it was just like that sort of tapering off of being active and being in shape was like a pretty, it was substantial. It was, it's kind of substantial over time up until this point right now. Right now it was, with work and stuff, I'd say I would say this is probably, no, I don't want to say it's like the least active that I've been, I'm just counting, this week, but it just wasn't the same at all. Like I had sort of grown pretty sedentary, and I just hadn't been in the same shape that I used to be. Like very clearly now, I just cannot do the same like distances that I was able to. I've talked about that before. And yeah, just not in the same shape as I used to be, which is understandable. I'm not blaming myself by any means, but I just want to, I'll never get back into that same shape because, one, I can't run those distances anymore. I don't know if I will be able to in the near future unless I like actively seek like feet support or some shit like that. But I don't know how much time and money I want to invest in doing that if I'm not like, super dedicated in running and stuff like that. I'm just not there at that point anymore. So, but I want to be active. I think that's just the big thing. I want to be active. I want to be stronger. And so I'm just kind of taking, some gradual steps back to kind of being in shape to the point that I want to be, and being, just more really the biggest thing is just being active and, not not stationary is really kind of the big thing for me. I feel that I do better when I do better and I feel better when I'm not just kind of sitting idly, sitting still and not, not doing anything, I guess you could say. Um, but just kind of being, I guess, like I said, like out and about and being in other spaces where I am being, active. Um, so I'm trying to, yeah, I'm really trying to kind of build that back up so I kind of have a bit of a foundation to have a bit of a base to work off of, and then get to a point where I can really just consistently work out and not feel like where I am now, where I'm like sore, and I'm pretty tuckered out, man. I'm pretty, like, I feel good, but I'm also tired, but it's a good kind of tired. I'm like tired from um I'm tired from just kind of putting myself through exercise that I haven't really been used to in a long time. So hopefully I can get, I think I just have to adjust and slowly kind of, continue to build. But yeah, it's like I started working out on Tuesday. uh I looked up this kind of beginner workout thing that I found online, sort of through like a Reddit, like I think it was like through like Reddit, like fitness, like the subreddit, and then there was like a forum that I came across that seemed pretty reliable, and a lot of people were kind of referring to it, so I checked that out, and I like the plan so far. Like it feels really doable, and it's nice. I don't have to, I am pushing myself to an extent, but I'm not like killing myself. Although although my back is a little sore from yesterday because um I attempted to do some deadlifts for the first time, really, and I'm not sure. I think it's really just working on my form and that sort of thing. So I just have to get better at that. I feel, because I think I can push myself. I think I could lift more weight, and I can really be. Uh, I can push myself to do more than what I'm currently doing. That's kind of my anticipation in the future. So I think I just have to. At this point, I'm just trying to get better with my form. You know, uh, not putting so much weight and too much pressure on like my back, because right now I feel that kind of soreness right now. So um trying to be a little better about that. But yeah, I'm just sore everywhere right now. um, I'm like trying to like stretch and shit. I have a machine gun at home that I use. I don't know how effective that is, but I don't know. It feels like it's doing something, but it could just be placebo. Um, so yeah, it's been good. I've just been, yeah, I just started going to the gym and trying that out. And yeah, really just kind of building a foundation that I can work off of in the long term. Let's talk some basketball, right? Um, Final started up yesterday, game one. Denver versus Miami. Game one. Nuggets. Oh, I mean, it pretty much was kind of a blowout. It felt like a blowout. I mean, there were at times that the game really just got out of hand, and Miami did come back to a sense. There were points where I'm like, "Yo, let's go Miami." I don't really have a horse in this race, but I just want a competitive series. That's like the main thing I want. There are points where I'm like, oh shit, they could come back from 20 down, but it never happened. They could never get below like 8 points. So that was kind of the game. Jokic is incredible. It's fun watching him play. The Nuggets in general are just a really fun team to watch. I just like their flow of offense and how they operate. It's just it's good stuff, man. Good team basketball. That's that good shit. You know what I mean? So game two is going to be on Sunday. So we got a couple days of rest in between, and I'm excited for the rest of the series. I don't I it's sort of based off of the based off of how things went in game one, it's easy to kind of extrapolate that and say, oh, this is going to be a sweep. Oh, this is going to be a 5-game series. But it's too easy to make conclusions off of one game. It's just a lot of those things aren't going to carry forward. Uh, of course, I recognize that Denver is an incredible team, but I just once again, I don't want to discount Miami considering the position that they are, what they've gone through so far in the playoffs. So um, I'm hoping that they bounce back. I kind of want Miami to pull a game on the road. I think that's going to be huge. And then I can really say that we have a series. You know what I mean? Even then, though, I think sort of the saying that the series doesn't start until the road team wins, I think that still holds for sure. So even if the Nuggets go up 2-0 against the Heat, if the Heat can hold position at their home, then we got ourselves a series, man. So I'm not holding my breath, but you know, the Nuggets have shown that they are. I mean, they are worthy of being called the first seed. They are worthy of being the first seed in the West and being one of the best teams in the league. So I'm excited I'm just excited for more basketball, man. I think there's gonna be some good moments for sure. I don't I don't give a fuck about like I know it doesn't I don't care about like ratings or whatever. Like people talk about that, but I'm just excited to see more basketball. I'm excited to see Jokic play. I'm looking forward to seeing if Jimmy can bounce back because he had a kind of a poor game one. I think he can, if he can pull off like a monster game sometime in the series. I think that'll be cool to look forward to. But yeah, I just I'm just happy to see more basketball, and I think this is an interesting conclusion to this very interesting season where it felt there was really no team. Of course, you could argue the East had its, three, contenders, but right now it's just like you got, of course I've talked about, Miami last time, but you got Miami standing still as the 8th seed, and then you got Denver who held, they held a pretty dominant regular season in the West at least. So I don't know. There's just people. I don't think most people anticipated this finals though. I think this one's a rare one, and again, I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. I think there's still some unexpected places that this can take or go to. But yeah, some good stuff there. I've been sort of, Tears of the Kingdom. I've been, playing that kind of on and off this week. I think my focus now, or what I want to do in kind of the short term, is I have a ton of just open side quests right now. So I'm thinking of doing those, the ones that are kind of located in the villages, just because I think that I've been doing a lot. I have maybe 70 hours plus in the game right now. I've done quite a lot. I've done a good chunk of the story, the story main story quests. I've done a pretty good amount of exploring and uncovering, the parts of the map, both, all parts of the map, and defeating some pretty tough enemies. So I sort of want to take it easier, I guess, and do some of the smaller side quests that are less strenuous and less demanding. So I think that's probably going to be that's probably what I'm going to be doing this weekend when I have some time to play, and focus on just kind of checking those off and seeing some more interpersonal relationships within the game and the NPCs and that sort of thing, and kind of delving into that world a bit more. Um, but it's been a good time for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing where the rest of the game kind of leads. Uh, I so I would say the one thing that I'm sort of, I don't know if it's a criticism or it's something that I would uh that I think that was potentially misleading by the developers from what I remember they were talking about. I would say the dungeons are not really dungeons. And they said there were 8 dungeons. I just, I don't know if that's accurate. Because you got the 4 main ones. And again, this is sort of minor spoilers, but you kind of get introduced to this like pretty earlier on in the game. The setup is pretty much the same as kind of Breath of the Wild, where you're like, okay, you got to go to these 4 locations to complete this objective. And so you have these 4 ones. I haven't really looked into it because I don't want to really spoil myself, but I don't, like, I guess there could be a 5th one with the final one, kind of similar to Breath of the Wild, but I don't know where are those other 3? Where are those other 3 that we're talking about? Are those like hidden? Are those like shrine dungeons? Because I don't consider those dungeons if we're talking about the shrine side. They're not. That's not quite the same. So I forgot whoever made the statement. They were doing like a ask a developer thing for Nintendo. And someone made that comment about, or it wasn't made, but someone brought up the concept of dungeons, and then also the maybe it wasn't there was just talk about there being 8 dungeons, I think. I forgot if that was from the developers themselves or if someone like discussed that based off of like the data mining. So I'm not entirely sure, but I just remember seeing something about 8 dungeons, and I'm like, I don't really. I mean, there's 4 for sure, and then you could also argue they're not. They call them dungeons. I just don't. They are. I mean, I do consider them dungeons to an extent. I think the Divine Beasts were dungeons. I can make that argument. It's just not. It's just not the traditional ones that people were sort of anticipating, which is a little disappointing. Like, I've had fun with them. I've had fun with the 2 that I've done so far, but it's not the same. It's not really the same. And I think it's just difficult to, I think, considering the way that the game is formatted and how open everything is, how available the usage of items are. I think it's a little difficult to structure those dungeons in that kind of way, where you have to, traverse the floors, get door keys, and get a dungeon map and a compass and a specific item for that dungeon. I just think that's a little difficult to. I think that's a little difficult to implement in this game just because of how open-ended everything is. Like, you can use everything. Once you get like the Zonai materials and shit, like, you could just kind of fly through everything. Like, if you have like a rocket, you could really just use that to your advantage and just like kind of fly around and shit like that. So I don't know. It's just difficult to implement. So I don't really I don't fault the developers for not what is it? I don't fault them for not using, or for I don't fault them for trying to, I guess, use a similar format as Breath of the Wild for the dungeons for tiers, right? Like, because it's just kind of it makes sense, but I just don't. Um, it's just hard. Like maybe they could have like limited. Like when you go into the shrines, you are limited in terms of what you can use. You can't use like you can't use like the Zonai items, but so maybe they could have done something like that where you're restricted to just like the weapons that you have currently and nothing else. And then there's like a specific item that you have to use in that dungeon only. That could be something. It's like a hook shot for this, or you got to use this. I don't know. It's like a big one, boomerang. But boomerang is like a weapon in the game too, so I don't fucking know. It's a little, yeah, it's a little hard to conceive how like a traditional, quote unquote traditional Zelda dungeon would be implemented in this game. So yeah, I don't really. It's just hard. It's just hard to do that. I think I guess the fear for some people from the community or some people that from Zelda fans is that there's just kind of not going to be a Zelda that is similar to, you know, the Ocarinas and the Twilight Princess or the Wind Wakers. We're probably the idea is that we're not going to get those kinds of games anymore, which is a little disappointing for sure. Because like, I think it would be nice to sort of see a game like that where you do have to go into a dungeon and do all this, just because I think that gameplay loop is like fun, and you spend however many days, or you spend a few hours in a dungeon, or you spend like a week in a dungeon, like, or you're like me where you spend fucking 2 years in the water temple of Ocarina. Like it's just like, it's that sort of thing. But it's I guess it's a little difficult to kind of see, considering the success of these last two Zelda games. It is a little difficult to see there being a kind of a maybe a shift back to that. If they maybe if they develop a more story focused Zelda game, there could be, I don't know, there could be some draw there if they wanted to test the waters. Like if there, because there's a new fan base, there's a new player base, there's way more eyes on Zelda now. So if they wanted to go back to that and just like test the waters and see if there's maybe a bit of a, if there was any appeal there to the widespread, audience, they could try to do that. But it's possible that they just want to stick to the formula. And considering what Eiji Aonuma said, it just kind of seems that way. They're probably going to want to stick to open world and, much more creative freedom in that sense. So I think that's just probably going to be the way it goes for at least like the mainline Zelda games. If they do, the kind of top down, if they like remake one of the older games, like Link to the Past or some shit like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, again, it is a little disappointing in a sense. I do I think it would be cool to see that style of game, and I know that there are games out there for sure that emulate that style. And I kind of want to experience that for sure in the future once I once I get through whatever else I got in my backlog of games that I want to play. But yeah, it's I guess it's a little disappointing, but I guess I can always just go back to the older games if I wanted to. I think I'll talk a bit about what I've experienced so far. I'll talk very briefly about what I've experienced so far with the story. And I think it is, in some sense, a bit stronger than Breath of the Wild, but it does kind of hold similar kind of similar like story beats in the sense where, yeah, majority of the time that you're playing the game, you are not really, or the majority of the time that I've been playing the game, I have sort of been absolved or separate from the main storyline. So I'm wondering if I really stuck to the main story, if I would be feeling a bit stronger about it, because I like it so far. I think it's cool. I think that it feels there's a little bit more going on with the characters, and there's a little bit more interconnectedness. Um, but it also, again, it does feel a bit more like it's following Breath of the Wild, which is, it is what it is. It's just a sequel. That's just kind of what they're basing um, basing the format off of. But I, I think, I think it helps that there are more people that you can interact with. I think that helps in the believability of this world and this in the storyline, and there are characters that are affected by certain things. I think that's really cool to see. Um, but again, that I don't know if that has an effect on the direct main storyline. Um, but I like it. I think it's cool. I just it's not grasping me like in you know in kind of the way that maybe I would have liked to. But I enjoy it though. I think it's fun, and I just I'm interested in seeing where it goes. I don't really have too many expectations. Um, like I said, I don't really play Zelda for necessarily the story, but I do think there could be maybe a bit more emotion that it could draw upon, because I do feel the excitement when in certain sequences, but it's not hitting me in the certain places that I would like for it to. So I don't know, but again, I haven't beat the game yet. I haven't played through the entire storyline yet, so um, we'll see if that uh, we'll see how it kind of trajects into the the ending of the story. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to think if I want to record another episode this weekend. There's not going to be a game until game 2, so I'm not sure if I really have too much to talk about. So I'm probably going to call it there for this week. If I change my mind, I'll just edit this part and then, just edit and, append it to, you know, the start of the next episode. But for now, we'll call it. Thanks for listening. This has been Save the Semantics. Signing off.